Once again, I'm going to take this one slow because I kind of rush through things, especially with this particular card. I've become pretty comfortable with it. But the thing about this card is I'm pretty sure that maybe I could just add a card that I know of that I just don't have and maybe just optimize it, and that would be it. But you know, you take what you have. I am curious about like maybe an ancient tomb in this particular deck because I do have a lot of colorless artifacts, and to cast those out and accelerate those even further would be nice. Same thing goes with all the other very powerful, like more competitive EDH cards that kind of have your fast ramp, your mana vaults, and your mana crypts. Those particular cards kind of could accelerate this deck even further and faster. The cost is a little interesting because it is red and green. So like a Jeweled Lotus is kind of, I mean, you could use it as a mana rock, or maybe to recast your commander at some time if it did get removed. So that's kind of nice, but it is not like a, 4 mana commander. So we're not like looking for a turn 1 Jeweled Lotus Meria, unfortunately. What we can do is we can do like turn 2 Meria with a Llanowar elf, such as that. Can kind of accelerate into a Meria that way. Or like a Ragavan that gets to attack, makes a treasure. That would be another way to get Meria out pretty fast. So in terms of that, that's kind of what we're looking at. And the principles for this deck, if you do pursue it, and I think if you like creatures in combat, you're going to definitely want to make sure you put an aspect of haste into the deck. The equipments that make hastes, for instance, your lightning greaves, your swiftfoot boots. I'd also consider like a Ring of Valkis. I am going to be running Dragon Tempest over the Ring of Valkis for this particular deck, because I do have lots of dragons. And, that kind of choice is, I think it's solid. I think it's fine. There might be times when you're going to benefit from like that 2 mana artifact on turn 2, like a Ring of Valkis, and be able to utilize it for mana with Meria on the battlefield. So that's kind of a drawback. So that's the things you have to weigh, the benefits of cards. I do like Dragon Tempest because you don't have to pay an equip cost for that particular haste card. It's a 2 mana card, so it fills that spot, and it just gives all your flying creatures haste the turn they come out into the battlefield. So that is nice. You don't have to pay. It's just a very powerful card. You're good with dragons. Without further ado, we can just kind of breeze through this deck a little bit here. Just kind of like, obviously, Urza Saga is just so very powerful, right, guys? So we have these cards here. This card, we'd never hate to see it. When we have it in our opening hand, it just gets us like a very powerful artifact from our library, and we can kind of accelerate into things from there. I like the Haywire Might, just as a nice piece of removal. Now, we talked about card draw with this deck. We're going to get that thing through like things like Howling Mine. Chandra's just a nice form of ramp and card draw. You get kind of both of those things. Here's our kind of equipments to become much stronger in a Meria deck because they can be tapped for mana, and also they can be utilized with some of our early creature cards, such as like a Memnite, which is like basically, you could consider playing like an Ornithopter. I did have Memnite in there because I did run Sticky Fingers at a time, but maybe Memnite's not as evasive as like an Ornithopter might be. So perhaps maybe this should be like an Ornithopter, like a flyer, because putting like a flying creature with Pry and Blade is probably much more evasive. But having this out early enough, I think, like a turn 1 Memnite with a Pry and Blade on the battlefield, I think you're going to be able to start swinging into open opponents pretty fast. So unless they're all playing like Esper Sentinels, and will they want to trade? I don't know, maybe not. But that's just kind of like where we're at now. And so yeah, we can down the line consider an Ornithopter, but this is kind of what we want. We want like a 0 cost. Just one in the deck I think is fine. like a Memnite or an Ornithopter, Phyrexian Walker. We don't need all three. I think this would be fine. What this deck needs to do is needs to focus on card draw and haste. So we have like our Lightning Greaves here, the One Ring. That's Lizard Blades is good with our combat. But Last March of the Ents is more card draw. And then we have like a couple win cons in here. A couple of ways to accelerate into the more beefy cards like Dowsing Dagger, Savage Ventmaw. Also keeps our mana going. We do have like some combo with our Savage Ventmaw. For instance, we have a few dragons that have extra combat step. One which you pay into, which is the Hellkite Charger. So you'll see that we just have some nice dragons in here. Nice kind of mana sinks with some of our lands, like the Turn Timber Symbiosis. We have like a lot of good, decent removal in here, like the Balefire Dragon. There's a Hellkite Charger. This goes well with the Savage Ventmaw. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna have an abundance of mana. Like I'm telling you, I've gone through some sequences with this deck, and we're just like making like so much mana, so much like that you don't even really know what to do. I've considered like Crackle with Power, but I felt like probably it'd be best for like, you know, keeping those combos intact, like Savage Ventmaw and kind of our extra combat steps, so we can get in and be rewarded for our combat. That's basically the extent. I really love this card too, Vivian, the Monster's Advocate here. And I think it's like an all-star in this deck. What really makes this fun is, could you imagine like going off with like a Ragavan, playing Vivian, and then playing like a Chiscoria, which is like a 9 CMC that has like affinity for artifacts. And then you can basically tutor up any 8-cost creature and put it onto the battlefield immediately. That would give us so much freedom to, you know, kind of find like our combo pieces. And we could probably end the game pretty quickly from there. So that's kind of a nice little thing. And basically, you're just rocking that out. You can probably plus this the turn it comes down and then do it twice. So yeah, that'd probably be a way to finish the game pretty fast. So that is kind of the deck in a nutshell. And once again, Bank Reckon or Bank Buster is just another way we're going to get cards. Sylvan Library, just those nice little 2-mana cards that are going to definitely give us a head. Also, we have the Great Henge in here for a card draw and ramp. So I think really you want to like also be considering like in your 4-mana 5 CMC cards, things that kind of can get you some cards and also can ramp you to a degree. So for instance, like probably our best 5 CMC ramp card is the Goldspan Dragon. That card is gonna like ramp us very well, make our treasures even more potent. And then you have like your 4 CMC cards, like the Chandra, which can ramp and draw cards like through impulse drawing. So those particular cards are going to be very beneficial. Obviously, the One Ring is just so very strong as well. So that will kind of serve as your basis. And then there's just some nice kind of sequences. Like there's times when we're going to be able to have like Llanowar Elf into like a Fable of the Marebreaker instead of a Meria, which is totally fine. And then maybe we can follow that up with like an Esco's Chariot, and then we can start copying our Shaman tokens and really start getting ahead. Then maybe even copying like we can copy the tokens. You can even copy like the tokens that the Kiki makes as well. So like if we had a Terrastodon on the battlefield, you could Kiki Jiki, and you could copy lots of tokens and do some really interesting things with the Chariot. So we're also playing some fun cards in here. Like I had the Doors of Durin in there, and I did some like kind of run-throughs. It's such a really cool RNG card, but I think overall it just bricks a lot, unfortunately. Even if we add the support like the Sylvan Library and like the Sensei's Dividing Top, I think it's just kind of still just whiffing a lot, unfortunately. Yeah. So especially if you get in like kind of a land funk. The Scribe's nice, but it doesn't guarantee the creature, unfortunately. So let's just see what we got going on here. And just go ahead and deal out some cards. And I'll just talk about each card as they come up to kind of get an idea what we're going with here. All right, so our first card is in this deal would have been the Sensei's Dividing Top, which is like a very fine 1-drop. It's gonna be doing all those things that we want to do in this deck. It's gonna help us look at and manipulate our library while also drawing this card. What's nice about Meria is we have enough artifacts on the battlefield. We can draw a card, put this on the battlefield, and then impulse draw for it back and play at the same turn and keep manipulating and drawing. So we love this Sensei's Dividing Top. It's just a great card from Meria. It really helps us have some mana acceleration, and also it does well by paying for itself. Also it can pay for its own ability. We don't have to tap to look at the top three cards of our library. It's just a very good uncommon, $20 uncommon, I think, right now, plus. Okay, so we're going to get a mountain in our opener. Also, this would be served as a forest, it looks like. We have a big, strong card in the leveler here. Another land. Oh, pretty landlocked here. Oh, a Ruby Medallion. Okay, we're totally saved. This is a fine opener. We are going in 1 to 2, and then we are also getting a cost reduction on our Meria on turn 3. We're going to have like an abundance of mana to spend here. Are we going to get into a leveler? Perhaps not, but we're going to be able to activate our Divining Top at the worst. Otherwise, we're just going to curve out and have like a nice time with this particular opener. So without further ado, let's see, we can go forest or mountain. Probably prefer forest. And then we go ahead and play our Divining Top and say go. We'd actually get we get to our draw for the turn as well. And that goes into a Blade of Selves. It's kind of an interesting draw. Blade of Selves for anyone who is unfamiliar with this particular card. It is an interesting card, so I will kind of highlight it. Also 2 colorless. It does have an equip cost of 4. And then whoever the sword is equipped to, that creature has myriad, so when it attacks, it creates copies based on how many opponents you have on the battlefield and they're swinging. So it's just a very cool, interesting card for this deck. Really good with our combat dragons that deal combat damage and have a benefit for that. It's really the main purpose of that. So this would just go ahead and play out. We just go ahead and here to our Ruby Medallion. Zoom in on that a little bit. So that's our nice little sequence there for turn 1, turn 2. And then we draw into an Ancient Copper Dragon now, which is nice. So what we do here on our turn 3, we could go ahead and play Meria, and we could play the Blade of Selves all in one turn. And I'll illustrate how this is done. So we're going to play our Rootbound Crag because we have a mountain in the forest there. Sweet. And then we're going to play Meria for 2 here by just tapping these 2. And because we have the cost reduction, just like so. So we go ahead and play Meria, which is fine. And then we're going to go ahead and tap the Crag and the Ruby Medallion for a Blade of Selves. So we have our Blade of Selves on the battlefield now. We can't equip the blade yet, but what we can do is we can tap, this acts as a land with Meria on the battlefield, so we could tap it for 1, like so. We can then activate our Divining Top here, and go ahead and, we could definitely can do that and look at the top 3, see what's going to go on. Oh, that's a portal. So we're definitely going to want to draw into the portal. I think we're going to probably have enough mana to play it soon. We can probably just go ahead and put the commander plate depending on what we want to do next turn. This is what we have in hand. We can actually draw one of these now. So what we would do here, probably just go ahead and draw the commander plate by tapping down the Sensei's Divining Top. I think that'd be fine. Actually, we want to have the commander, yeah, we want to have the commander plate so that we can do the impulse trick. So let's just try this out. So what I mean by this is because with the Divining Top, we can kind of redraw it into our hand by tapping some of our artifacts. So if we went like this and we manipulated our library like this, and we tap the Divining Top, we draw the commander plate. Commander plate would go to hand, this would go to the top, like so. And then we'd say go. And then now we're up to our next turn here. We have all these nice kind of accelerators here. Let me just kind of put them like this so you can see a little bit better. Sweet. I'll zoom in a little bit. All right, so there's our kind of our nice sequencing here. And then we go ahead and draw into the Divining Top. And now we can basically play these for free in a way, in a sense. These commanders play in the Sensei's Divining Top, they just pay for themselves. So we'll just go ahead and start there. So we'll just tap our artifacts, it's no problem. So we'll start by tap. Actually, let's keep those open for maybe impulse drawing. Let's just probably start with a land just to be cool. So we'll go ahead and start with a land. So we have 4 lands, nice. And then let's keep our artifacts kind of available. Keep our dual land available if we need it. So and maybe our red too. We'll keep some red open if we can. So let's just go ahead and this is fine, just like this. Pay 2 here for our Divining Top and commander plate. Okay, so that's fine. Now let's kind of look at our options now. We have the Ancient Copper Dragon and the Cityscape Leveler. We could do a couple things with this particular turn. We could kind of protect our Meria and equip the plate. Or we can get like our Ancient Copper Dragon, kind of put a target on our back, but if we can start swinging with the Ancient Copper Dragon and the Blade of Selves, we're going to really have a lot of mana too. So that's probably our best bet. And we get in the reduction from the Copper Dragon too. So we can probably still do some of the fun stuff we want. So we're imagining this is basically 5 because we get reduced by the medallion. So let's tap our red mana first, so 2 red in the cost, and then we have to find 3 more colorless. So we can go ahead and tap the medallion and the blade, and let's go ahead and tap the commander plate, like so. That would let us enable us to play the Copper Dragon here. And I think at this point, we have the Cityscape Leveler in our hand. I think we're going to be feeling pretty good about our board overall. Hopefully we don't get Vandal Blasted, but then we'd still have an Ancient Copper Dragon on the battlefield, which would be nice. But yeah, I think I'm pretty happy about how the sequencing went. We could go ahead and probably just draw with the Sensei's Divining Top because it's just so easy to kind of get it back and keep on impulse drawing with it. And it's so cheap, right? It's just like 1 mana, so I think that's probably something that we can do here. And then we have our leveler available. Or we could just scry 3, which would be kind of nice too, and keep the mana available. Overall, mana's probably not going to be a problem anymore. So, I mean, if that's the case, we probably don't have to worry about tapping our artifacts for mana anymore, and we could probably start impulse drawing with them with the Divining Top. So we're probably going to just start drawing with the Divining Top now. I think that'd be fine, and that's what we do. We tap it for mana. So this would go to the top of the library, and then we have a Phyrexian portal to Phyrexia. So we have quite a few options if our Ancient Copper Dragons could stick an attack or not. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be equipping a commander plate to it, but at the very worst, even if the Copper Dragon gets kind of shot down, we're in a good shape because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 mana available. So maybe that was probably maybe a reason to maybe keep the Divining Top on the battlefield, because it wouldn't, even if like our Copper Dragon got shot down, we could still like be able to cast a leveler. So that was probably the more prudent idea, just to kind of do the Scry 3 here and to leave it on the battlefield, because let's see here, where is our Divining Top? There it is. So if we were to leave that on the battlefield, we can just count the mana up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah. So probably would have been best just to kind of Scry 3 right there in hindsight. Definitely gonna keep the, oh my god. So this is an interesting draw too. The Mishra's Bauble, it's just like free mana and it can draw cards, which is so cool for our deck. Oh my god, what a card. I love all these cards, man. So you could probably just keep the portal there. Go like this. I don't really think this would just serve as a land. Sockham's End's not too bad to make creatures. Alright, and we can kind of just let the game kind of unfold with these powerful artifacts like Cityscape Level and Portal of Phyrexia. Chiscoria is going to be fantastic with our Ancient Copper Dragon making treasures. You know, Haywire Might to like blow up some problematic things. The One Ring for more cards. I'm very happy. This deck, I think that's kind of the draw shows you why I keep coming back to this deck. It just seems really fun, and the cards you get to play are so strong. These dragons, these Ancient Copper Dragons, are just like out of control. And playing cards like, for instance, in Meria, like the sapphires. What are they called here? The medallions. These cards are just outrageous here. We get to tap them for mana, and they reduce the cost of our nice spells too that we have in our deck. So we have a Ruby Medallion, and we have an Emerald Medallion too. And we just kind of got lucky there with the Emerald Medallion, like being able to cast the Ancient Copper Dragon. Sometimes you have to be lucky, and that is why we play the game. Anyways, it looks like this video is gonna work. So I wish you well in your magical day. Have a great one. Goodbye.